And as I hear those words, one of the things that I think about is like, I own a piece of property up north, and someday we want to build a cabin and spend some time up there. And while I look at that and that feels good, there's this underlying tension about, okay, I'm going to have to do the planning, and I'm going to have to put a lot of effort and energy into creating this. And then once we get it up there, then there'll be the time to get away, which will take away from my time at work. And there'll be this challenge. And I know when I feel that's not right, but I'm not sure how.
But you see what we are so appreciating your candid words, because what you're demonstrating here, first of all, everyone relates to it. But what you're demonstrating here is a human person who has been creating primarily through action,
right,
who has not yet tapped in to the knowledge and the advantage of the leverage of the energy.
Right. And
it ties in perfectly with what we were just talking about faith, because faith is alignment with energy without justification for doing it. And so the remedy is to become less specific in your resistant thoughts. And the way you become less specific in your resistant thought is by becoming more general in your resistant thought. For example, I'll figure it out as I go is a general thought. A specific thought is, building a cabin is a lot of trouble, and it's going to take a lot of planning. Really specific thoughts.
Right.
And just making sure that the zoning is right for it, and figuring out what we're going to put there, and figuring out how to get the utilities in that we really want, and figuring out the size of it, and being able to plan for our life down the road. And is it really where we want to put our time and energy? Specific. Nodding you up, because you're asking questions to which you don't have answers, because the answers, even though they're all over there in the vortex, because you haven't been there enough on this subject, those answers aren't revealing themselves to you yet. So the problem part of the equation is what's most dominant within you, and it's got you bogged down.
Right.
And what's really interesting about this is that every time you approach that subject, or any subject really, you put an equivalent solution over there that calls you. So the resistance that you're feeling is because you've been doing the work and the solution is calling you, but your practical mind isn't letting you go there because you're so action oriented, you see.
Right.
So the way you become less action oriented and more energy oriented is by going general. I don't have to figure it out right now, and when the time is right, I'll know what to do, and I don't need to take action until I feel the inspiration to act. And the whole point of it is for a joyful experience anyway, and I want it to be a joyful experience from the beginning. And there are all kinds of things there are lots of things. Now, did you feel us go general?
Absolutely.
And did you feel the ease of it? And now we're going to go generally positive. There are a lot of things, because it's easy to go from generally negative to generally positive, but it's impossible to go from specifically negative to specifically positive. So that general thing is a nice bridge in between. So if you can get into that general place where you're no longer badgering yourself, then you can get into a place where you can make some generally positive statements. So you could say something like, I don't have to do it this red hot minute anyway, and when the time is right, I'll know it. And when things line up, it's really fun to do. And there are a lot of things that will come into place before I'm even going to think about that. And meanwhile, so you bring yourself into this more generally good feeling place. And then more specifically good feeling thoughts begin to come to you, such as, there are many, many things that are important to my everyday experience that I'm not efforting over. I did not build my automobile with my bare hands. You didn't, did you?
No.
I don't even maintain it with my bare hands. You don't, do you?
I don't. I used to do both.
But you see,
Absolutely.
I don't do that.
Right.
And I have the best running machine I've ever had. You do, don't you?
Absolutely.
So So now you're specifically acknowledging what you were general about before, and now the not's gone because you don't have to think about it right now. And when you're ready to think about it, there are all kinds of people who are ready to step in, who know exactly what to do in all of those places. And when I'm in the vortex, we're speaking from your point of view, and when I'm in the vortex, they will be revealed to me, one coming just at the right time, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. So it's going to be this unfolding with me, the creative genius, and everyone else filling in and doing their harmonic parts, and the whole thing's just going to be a wonderful experience. And now you've left that cabin in a better place than it ever was before. You took it from a place where it badgered you, and you left it in a place where at least it's not yelling at you anymore. It may not be making your heart sing yet, right, and it may not be inspiring you to action, and you may not be wanting to go up there and dream about it and draw the walls in the dirt yet, but at least this brief conversation moved it to a place where it's no longer a point of resistance. So now your dreams about the cabin are not being contradicted by you. Not right now.
Right.
And when your dreams are not being contradicted and there's no resistance, that means the cooperative components can begin to be amassing, and you are now not an uncooperative component, which must mean you must be a cooperative component, which means now the thoughts and ideas will begin to occur to you. So you'll get in on this joyful creation. You see how
I've heard you say it so many times, get in the vortex, and as soon as you were speaking, it just kind of realized that that's not what I was doing.
It's just so annoying to have someone tell you to get in the vortex when you're not in the vortex, because you just want to shout, if I could be in the vortex, don't you think I'd damn well go there? Don't you think I would be in the vortex if I could be in the vortex? That's the whole point of this conversation. I want to be in the vortex, but I'm not in the vortex. And we just want you to ratchet it way back. What the tools that we give you are about be less intense. When you know that you don't be in the vortex, try not to be so vividly what you're being. That's the whole point. Don't be so vividly what you're being. And if you'll stop being so vividly what you're being by not talking to somebody about it, not adding power to it, not drawing pictures about it. In other words, don't blog about it. Don't spend time talking about what bees that you don't want to be. There are people who say, you've got to face reality. They're saying that to Jerry right now. You need to talk to us about what's going on with you. And we say, or not. You want millions of people focusing upon what is when what is isn't what you want?
Right.
We don't think so. In other words, when you don't want to think about what is, do you really want to talk to a whole lot of people about what is when you don't want to think about what is? You want to become more general about it, not more specific about it. More general. The more general you are, the less resistance there is. The more general you are, the more resistance there is. Now, sometimes people will say, but I thought you said I'm a deliberate creator. And now you're telling me to be a general creator. We say, be general when your creation is crappy. Be specific when your creation is really pleasing you. So be general because it feels better. In other words, follow the way it feels. Follow the way it feels. So when you think about the changes and you find yourself sort of balling up in them, almost every time what's happening is you are taking what is and comparing it to a time that you thought was better and using that comparison to shoot yourself in the foot. Where if instead you would accept what is as the beginning of the journey, it really does not matter where you're standing. It's the beginning of the journey. It could not matter less where you're standing. If you've got your windshield up out of the floorboards and are looking out there where you're going, it doesn't matter where the starting point is. And in fact, a journey with a starting point that is really unpleasing has the potential of being one of the most joyful journeys ever, because everything is an improvement over where you are. If you're not comparing a better time. You see what we're getting at?
Absolutely.
There's power in it.